Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we look at movies we love, break them apart to find out what gives them their magic. Guys, we are nearing the end of this massive horror odyssey that we've been on. This is our second to last movie in the month of October. We have made it all the way through the far reaches of Dream, Camp Counselors, and Space now with Jason X. Today, we are rebooting one more time, remaking. This is the Jason Friday the 13th remake. My friend and returning host and champion, joined today by...
Sam.
Pretty good. I got to say, of all your intros, that's probably... And I was really losing my train there for a minute. You really saved... So, Sam, you are our remake guy for this month, apparently.
Yep, I like the new ones.
Yeah, you're more of a new one. You've told me that you're done with old movies forever now, which I just think is the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Well, every movie's an old movie as soon as it's released, technically.
Oh, my God. You're so hip that you can't even control yourself. All right, Sam. You like this movie better or worse than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
Oh, I thought this movie was infinitely, well, probably not infinitely, but very much better than the
I
Nightmare on Elm
agree.
Street.
I actually think this one is a lot better, multiple times better.
Yeah.
I think what this one does best is it pays perfect homage to Jason and still finds some new room to run, which I really dig. Again, we talked
and
on
it
the
tries
Nightmare
to be funny,
remake.
which I
yeah,
like.
it does.
Yeah.
And this is the thing is, what I like too is that they use the characters and the counselors that are going to be killed, or not, they're not counselors, they're just rich kids.
Yeah.
And some not rich kids, but some criminals.
Yeah.
They use them for their comedic beats, right? So scenes with them, instead of trying to give us a sob story or whatever, they're like, let's just make these guys really fun to hang out with, but also wildly unlikable, so we don't care that much when they get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this movie kind of found a perfect Friday the 13th balance. Jason is ferocious and hardcore in this movie. They delve a little more into kind of the family trauma of this. This is the weird thing is
it has
this
a cool
one
start.
essentially
Yeah.
is a direct sequel more than a
to
remake,
the first movie.
right?
Yeah, it's like a sequel.
This is a sequel to the first because we do start off and we see again the death of Mrs. Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is the weird thing they don't address in the movie is that she is killing the counselors years after Jason's death. But in the vision in this movie, Jason comes back as a boy and sees his mom dead. So it lets you even believe that
And
perhaps...
keeps her head. He collects her head.
Oh, man.
That's
yeah,
cool.
they did that in the original Friday, too, is that he had a shrine to his dead mother's body, which is
like
just
a shrine?
repulsive. Yeah, and it's actually one of those things throughout a lot of the Friday movies is you're like, Jason really is into the like performance art pieces with the corpses. He plays with the bodies a lot after he kills them. But yeah, so this one I think is a fun wrinkle because I don't know what you took that as, but to me, I was wondering if they were playing Mrs. Voorhees as potentially just having a mental breakdown, that Jason never actually died, and she just has this breakdown and invents a story. So Jason's watching his mentally ill mother be taken down, right? Instead of him being a zombie back from the water to watch.
Uh-huh. Well,
how did you take this? Or did you just assume it was the same old, same old?
I honestly didn't think about that in that way. Yeah, take me back to the first one. So in the first movie, they had did they drown Jason on purpose? Or were they just playing with him and he accidentally died?
No, supposedly... Oh, God, let me actually think. Because I think... Supposedly it was a negligence, right? That they weren't watching him
because they were
enough.
Banging each other, right?
Yeah, you know, they're
doing their
typical
teenager
camp
things.
counselors, and he is a disabled child who required a little more supervision. They didn't watch him. It wasn't like an actual murder, right? Mm-hmm. Murder by negligence. The mom goes nuts and will have her revenge as the camp is reopening, right? But this one I think is cool because one of the most iconic moments in this franchise is the famous cha-cha-cha. Right? When it's kill mommy, right? That's what when they originally recorded that sound, it was Mrs. Voorhees hearing voices in her head say kill mommy.
Kill
right?
mommy.
Yeah. So it's like that's kill and then mommy, right?
Kill
like
mom.
kill mom. He wants his mother to go kill and take revenge, right? It's
like
her
it's like an
order.
order. It's like kill mom.
Yeah, it's like her mantra, right? It's like, kill mommy, avenge me. And it became one of the most iconic sound effects in all of cinema.
See, I just
history,
always
right?
thought it was him breathing, man. That's not...
Yeah, see, you thought, but it wasn't, man. It was psychosis, bruh. Because it started with his mom in part one. What I think is cool, though, is this movie almost plays it as, what if this is just a lineage of mental problems in this family, right? What if she's hearing voices and lashes out, not realizing that her child is alive and watching her kill these people through the woods? And then the son obviously has some kind of, maybe a little bit of hearing voices. Now he's the one hearing, the mama, whatever. Yeah. So I thought that was a cool little, I don't know that was intentional, but when I watched it, I thought that was pretty rad.
Yeah, damn, that is interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And this movie also does something that I know you said you didn't love or you were surprised by in the Nightmare remake. This is essentially 2 movies.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is I think I looked it up. It's like minute 23. The movie just completely restarts.
Well, I mean, that's like a lot of horror movies, though, isn't it? Weren't you saying that last time?
The most famous example to me of this is From Dusk Till Dawn. We are essentially watching
like
2 murderers on like a killing spree, right? Yeah, it's almost like a robbery thriller, but they're murderers. Mm-hmm. And then about 25, 30 minutes in, they're like, stripper vampires! And the whole fucking movie shifts on its axis, and it's a completely new movie.
Yeah,
this one is not as dramatic as that, but what did you think about having 2 multiple groups of kids? Is it weak that they weren't able to carry the story through with our main group, or does it even matter in a Friday movie? Do you just need fun people to kill?
I mean, I don't really understand why they did that. They could have just started the movie off with the girl being missing, but I mean, all the cool death scenes were in the first 20 minutes, which is
the first 20 minutes go so hard on death scenes.
Yeah,
and I like because it's also
what are you gonna do now, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, it's also like burlap sack head Jason.
Yeah,
and there's something about the way he starts this movie. He's running and attacking so viciously. It's not kind of the plotting supernatural zombie. It does just feel like a big, huge guy actually going apeshit.
Like a giant fucking Hills Have Eyes guy chasing you.
He's actually the nightmare scenario, right? Because that's what every time people ask me camping, I'm like, I'm not an outdoorsman, right? Like, I have to have a toilet and electricity and air conditioning no matter where I am. Like, I can walk in the woods all day, but then when it's dark, that's time for the nature to have the woods. I'm ready to be back, Dude,
I used to kind of think I was into camping and shit, but nope. Not the day or the night. Don't go in there, dude.
Yeah, and also I feel like camping now is becoming the last respite for these people that are like, I want to do things that aren't seen by the eyes of the world, right? Like, what better activity to do than camping?
Dude, also, like, is there a 24-hour fitness out there in those woods or what?
What are you talking about? What the fuck?
Where's Jason lifting at, dude?
Oh, dude, Jason's lifting corpses. He's, maybe this is something we never addressed.
Like, what do you think Jason does when he's not killing people?
I'll tell you what he fucking does. He practices archery like a motherfucker. Did you see that shot? Dude, he shot a guy in the neck from the shore on a speedboat.
No, that was awesome. Yeah. And then
they show us later, they do show us the camp has an archery range.
Yeah, no, that's the thing where I never put it together, but I think you're actually right about that, dude. Like, I think he's just not a regular human, obviously. He's got some mental disorder.
Well, this movie plays him more human than, like, zombie.
Yeah, he needs electricity. He's not just, like, sitting in a dark room waiting. He's doing stuff every day. He's building his lair. He's building all these secret passageways. He's like he's just a crazy murderer.
He's like a wood survivalist essentially, right?
Except for at the tunnels. It's kind of weird, but
so we've got tunnels, booby traps, bells. He's really into creepy ass art. Like, we see his wall of camp counselor whistles, which are his murder trophies.
Yeah,
he makes the shrine to Mommy's head. He's a very active guy. It feels like, right, between murders. And this is something they never explained in the movie. I was gonna say, is Jason the weed farmer?
I think he might. You think that's how he gets money?
The only person who defends the weed is Jason, right? If you and me were weed farmers, and we're like, we're going to bury this weed in a hidden location in the middle of a field, don't you think we would have some kind of security built in? Like, hey, we got to watch our weed.
Well, yeah, I think most people do probably.
Right, but no one is in this movie. Multiple people come to steal this weed. Even the Cletus guy, right? The little farm guy that gets murdered
who
when he finds
apparently
the
was
hockey
like
nest.
Jason's
He stole
neighbor.
the weed too.
How did he never know this guy lived out here in the woods?
Well, they make it seem like the whole town might know.
Even that Cletus guy?
Yeah, but that's another subject I'd like to get to. I think Jason, I like human Jason a little more than rampaging zombie Jason.
Well,
I'm with you. I
scary.
think this movie's fun to imagine what kind of fitness regime is he doing? What is this? Like, what if Jason's running around and in his mind he's his own camp counselor trying to earn merit badges? You know what I mean? Imagine Jason.
Dude, that is kind of funny. He's like tying ropes and knots, and although I guess he is a good swimmer.
Is he though? This movie doesn't show him swim at all.
Well, does the scene at the very end, not to cut all the way to the end, but is that reality or is that just like an extra?
That I would say, because that to me plays as a nod to the original, and in the original, the girl who escapes, she wakes up on the boat in the serene lake. Jason jumps out, baby Jay. This is the first time we'd ever seen him, right? The mossy corpse kid pulls her in. She wakes up, and that's a dream. So to me, I take the end of this movie to be 100% dream.
Okay.
To me. But I mean, again, in this movie, it doesn't matter. I think they assumed they were just going to keep making more of these, which I really don't know why they did, because this one was so fun.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the budget was too high for how much it made. I don't know.
I mean, it had to be something strange. Because, everyone I talked to, this and Texas Chainsaw are the two remakes that everyone really likes.
Texas Chainsaw
really popular.
Wasn't there was a second one for that one, though.
Yeah, well, that one's actually kept going, right? Because they had at least two
and they had
of
a
those.
Prequel. Well, and then
now
the
they have Leatherface, which just came out a year or so ago. So, the Leatherface is still running, and the rest of these guys have kind of fizzled out, which I find funny.
Because he's the only human.
Right, but that's what I mean, right? This movie, I think, finds a really good balance between classic what we want, which is Jason murdering promiscuous, kind of shitty and annoying teenagers, right?
Yeah, see, that's what I want to talk
really
to you.
Good, but I like the new human element of him, right? I like that he has to actually work in the real world to set traps and figure out where people are. I like that, the idea of him capturing a girl because it reminds him of his mother, I found that really interesting. What do you think their interactions look like? Because we only see it once, where he comes in and he thinks she's escaping and he's like right in her face trying to get her to stay. But she can calm him down, right? She's like, Jason, it's okay. It's okay. And he disappears, right? What has that looked like for the last year? That's a really fun place to let your... Well, not fun for the Cap D, but...
That is true. It was like... Well, and one thing I noticed, like all the little details, was he had little plates of food and crackers and stuff by her bed. So I was like, he's like feeding her. So he's like somewhat coherent of a guy.
He's somewhat he's functioning in the human world, right? Mm-hmm. Especially the ones Nugent. Right before people will listen to this one, right? Jason X, he's a space Terminator, right?
Which is my favorite, by the way. That's my favorite of the Jason.
Oh, that one's so fun. Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, he's kind of an idea, like a demon spirit that goes body to body.
Yeah.
Manhattan, he's a nautical ghost. He can definitely swim. He's just a zombie. So it's like, at this point in the remake, to bring back some of the human to Jason Voorhees, I think really adds a lot to this movie. I dug it. I dug it a lot. And also, again, him being human, it adds some of this kind of gangly ferocity to the performance, I think, right? He's not walking so upright and, kind of that Kane Hodder, like I'm just the baddest motherfucker that ever lived.
Yeah.
He's very frantic and chaotic.
Well, because he can be wounded in this one. He can actually be hurt if they know what they're doing.
All right. So we start off with a group of kids that are out to supposedly steal a bunch of weed they're going to sell, but really it looks like they're there to fuck.
For sure.
Now,
one guy's there to get weed.
Yeah, right. This opening gambit, and I do think it's strange because the opening gambit is almost, this movie kind of is paying homage to part 2 and part 1. And the opening feels very much part 2, right? The guy in the mask running around. I don't know why they did the two movies. And they are loosely linked because the girl that he captures that looks like his mom is with the first group.
Yeah.
What were the best moments in this to you? I thought this was a really good mix of comedy and murder. Which kill really got you?
The one where he hung the girl in the sleeping bag above the fire.
Oh, man. You know what really got me, though, is the bear trap.
Well, they're both kind of in the same scene.
Oh, yeah, that bear trap,
I think
though,
that combined
that
together, the
physically
bear
hurt
trap
me.
with the girl screaming and him not being able to do anything about it is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
But-
it's so funny, too, because we spend a lot of time walking with these guys, and they're super annoying kind of frat-like characters.
Well, see, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. You're saying that that's something people like in movies? That
what?
You need to, like in popular horror movies, the characters are oftentimes shitty.
Right.
So
Well,
that
this is
so
kind
that
of a
their
running
deaths-
theme that people used to think in 80s slashers, right? Is that they would actually say it's the most Christian of mediums. Because anytime you do something that's immoral and sinful, you die, right? If you drink, if you do drugs, if you're having premarital sex, then you're on the slaughter block. All the last girls, as they say, were kind of the pure, chaste, virginal, smart girls, right?
Yeah.
And it's something like, even when I used to be a writer for 1,000 Ways to Die, we had a mandate where you had to give the character some kind of terrible flaw.
But why is that?
Well, the producer's theory is you don't want to see a mom who's just doing her best, gets off work, gets the groceries, takes her kid to soccer practice, right, is smiling, watching her beautiful child, and then gets fucking ran over by a semi-truck. Because it makes you feel bad. You're like, look at this woman. She's doing everything right, and she gets fucked up.
Okay, so this is...
It's kind of like you just did Ready or Not with me, right?
Yeah.
That movie does this in the same way, which it feels like this is the kind of other thing, right? You have to be really bad or so rich that we hate you and are jealous of you, right? And this movie does that trick as well.
But why? But my question is, why? Like, my counterpoint would be to jump ahead again, when the girl that is the friendly one of the group gets stabbed, her death is so much more impactful because we like her.
Right, but my counter to your counter would be, is her death impactful because you assume she should live? That they're inverting a classic trope.
Yeah, well, because we actually like her as a... Whereas if the other people die, it's like, oh, it sucks they die. But I just feel like in horror movies, that's something they get wrong. Not that I'm an expert or anything, but I just feel like death is so much more important when the characters are important.
Well, I think it's a fine mix of, especially Jason, because we talked about it this month. Freddy kills barely over 4 people a movie. Jason's killing 12 people a movie. So the ability for them to make 12 really likable characters and give them enough time for us to bond, I think is hard, right? So what
they
Friday
did a good job
does,
with just the one,
is
I
usually
think.
they find a weird trait for every character, right? Whether it's, he's the overly annoying, I'm going to crush beers in your living room and spill everywhere. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just here to get tits all the time. I'm the prankster. I'm Crispin Glover. Whatever it is, right? They find like these weird things that you don't like about him, right? Promiscuous girl who's trying to, be catty to the other girls and catch the guy. So as long as they have one thing where you're like, oh, well, I won't miss her in the cast, right? And they thin them out. And then I do think more of the movies near the end, that's when you start finding the characters that you care about a little more.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
It's just a thought I had. Yeah, I wonder why they always do that.
Well, I mean, in this one, I think when they kill Danielle Panabaker, is that her name? When they kill her, I was shocked by that too.
Yeah. That was crazy.
'Cause, and again,
it's almost the same as in Nightmare when they killed the blonde girl that were following her entire story. We're like, okay, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's almost the exact. But for this one, we've been following her like the whole movie, right? Nightmare kills her at like 30, 35. This one's like, this is the last 10 minutes. You really had to... Because it is one of those, you're like, well, we can't kill the sister. We just rescued her. Else what's the point of this entire movie? But then you're like, wait, the sister was with the weed thief criminals, and this girl was just really nice
and helping,
walking around with the drifter.
She could have just ran away.
Though.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: was Danielle Panabaker's character actually a good girl, though? Do you know a really good girl who would say, "Hey, strange drifter on a motorcycle that I just met, I will go with you into the dark woods and campsite where people may have been murdered without alerting any of my friends and family where we've been"?
Dude.
That seems like really bad decision making.
Well, if Jared Padalecki came up to you, you'd probably go with him.
I mean, I would swoon.
Yeah.
But I would still be like, hey,
It's like,
Sam,
why do
I'm
you
going
think
to the
Ted
woods.
Bundy got so many girls to help him, man?
Yeah, well, Ted Bundy is a 4 compared to Jared Padalecki.
I know. That's
so
just
I
fucked up.
understand.
So imagine
right?
if Jared Padalecki wanted to be a serial killer, how many people he could get to trust him. He probably
They're just letting him. They're going to him like, hey, Jared, can I join your meat hook collection in the garage, please?
Yeah. Wait, I get to hang out with you? Okay.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like, why is she so eager to go to the woods? I know her boyfriend is the ultimate dick, Trent, right? But still.
Yeah, why did she ever go? Anyways. Like, I want to know how they met. If she's such a nice girl.
It is the weird thing in both of these groups where you're like, the first group doesn't match, right? So you've got...
The couple is totally different than the group. Yeah.
You've got the guy who thinks he's really funny, good-looking kid, and his girlfriend with the boobs that we see, right? This movie really went back to...
Yeah.
Gotta have a lot of boobs as well, right? That is
probably,
a Friday mandate.
Probably one of the best parts of the movie.
They're not bad. They did their homework and made sure they would be enjoyable. But yeah, so those two and then nerd guy, you're like, I kind of get them. But how did that guy's sister, who has a mom dying at home, and her seemingly gentle giant of a boyfriend end up on this weed stealing excursion? They don't feel like an actual group of friends.
Well, I mean, that's not that weird. I guess they, like, if her mom wasn't going to die that weekend, maybe they said, we're just going to go camping for a weekend, I'll be back Monday, and then she just never came back.
I mean, her mom died pretty soon after this, right? Because Jared Padalecki's, what, just months later?
I think he said that, he's, I believe, 3 months later, and I think that her mom died 2 weeks after she was gone.
Yeah, so, like, mom was on the doorstep, right? She has already been taking care of the mom. And I get it, man. I've had to take care of relatives before. It's not easy, but I was like, maybe. I don't know. Both of these last girls, I mean, I guess Jared Padalecki's our true last girl.
Well, no one's perfect.
He is the true paladin of the story.
Except for, didn't he do something wrong, too? Didn't he, like, lose touch? Like, he's not taking care of his mom.
Yeah, him and his sister lost touch. They were fighting, and he wasn't there to help take care of his mom either. So that's why he's so gung-ho to save his sister.
But, I mean, no one's perfect. I think that's true.
Right. Family stuff is hard. But I'm saying if we're talking about who is the true last girl heroic figure of the movie.
The last girl was the blonde girl that did nothing wrong.
No, it's beautiful Jared Padalecki.
No, it's the blonde girl that was dancing and got naked, and she did nothing wrong. Well, she did cheat on that girl.
Yeah, I was going to say, she definitely just was like, I see an opening, I'm going to go bang Trent.
And get rich. Yeah, okay.
And not only that, but when
you know who didn't do anything wrong was the black dude.
But no, wait, let me finish this. When she's banging Trent, girlfriend comes back, starts knocking on the door and says, hey, there's danger. She gets more turned on by the fact that she knows they're caught. That's not a good girl. She can't be the last girl.
No, that's not a good girl. That's a perfect girl.
Hey, I'm not saying that she is not dateable or something like that. I'm saying she doesn't fit the rules.
Yeah, I mean, don't get attached to her, man. But, you know. Shit, what was I going to say before that? Oh, no, the only good guy was the black guy. He just wanted to chill.
He was going to jerk off to a clothing magazine, though. The lady was in winter wear.
If that makes you a bad person, we're all bad.
In that guy's living room? And I know Trent's a dude.
Well,
but it's
dude.
Like, respect the decor.
That was a scene that
Go into a bathroom. He has a place to sleep. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a little uncouth.
That's not cool.
That's not cool at all. Like,
I would argue that Chewie, the Asian guy, he was pretty innocent in this.
No, because he went out there and stole the alcohol. They had little bad things that everyone...
He had accidentally broken stuff and was sick of Trent's shit.
That's true.
And also, when they go to hang out with Trent, I think the built-in reason you're a friend with a guy like this who's such a piece of shit is specifically so that you can use and abuse their wealth, right? Which is what he's doing in the garage. They have an entire gun safe full of valuable liquors, and that guy took like 3 swigs. He weighs 120 pounds. That's setting him back like, what, $3? That's not a bad guy.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And he was going to try to fix the chair. That's a good move.
That he broke.
I think he's a good dude still. I would say he's still a good dude.
I mean, I think they were all basically good people. Except for Trent, maybe.
Trent sucks. Girl who cheats
Trent
with Trent
ran away
sucks.
And left everyone to die. So he's kind of
Ryan Hansen and his girlfriend, they're not terrible. They are going to use and abuse Trent's hospitality. But again, that's kind of why you're there. You put up with a lot of Trent's bullshit. This is the other thing in the movie. I wanted to reach through the screen and kill Trent the whole movie.
Oh, God.
And he has probably the coolest death in the movie, but it still didn't feel big enough, right? Like, I really wanted him to be all the way mangled.
Why didn't he like run and jump into that car? That whole scene was weird. I was like, someone's chasing you, right?
Yeah.
So you just slowly walk up to the truck, just jump in the truck. Whatever's in the truck's less dangerous than the guy chasing you, dude. But whatever. I mean, he wasn't the brightest.
He
tool.
could have been running into a Deliverance scenario. I don't know, but
hey, man, take your chances.
But this is So Trent, the first time we meet him, he's in the gas station. This guy's asking about his sister who's missing. He's like, "Hey, come on, brah.
Yeah.
Come on, bro, get out!" And acting like he's gonna fight Jared Padalecki.
He says, "Are you gonna buy anything?"
Who's this gigantic one muscle of a man, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, God damn it, shut up. Then he gets in the car. He's rude to everyone. They get to the party house, right? The Lake End party house. Or the Lake Weekend party house. And all he does is tell them not to party and worry about the decor and the richness of his family. I'm like, fuck. Again, it is funny in horror movies how easy it is to weaponize wealth against a character.
Yeah.
Like, if once you know a character is vastly more wealthy than you and your friends, it is funny how little you care about seeing them get murdered. It's only something that I started thinking of because that movie recently, The Hunt, got canceled or whatever.
The Hunt?
Because it was, supposedly, I think, some movie that Trump bitched about, and they canceled it, right? And it was rich people possibly hunting MAGA hat wearers or something crazy.
Oh, shit.
It was one of those, like, surviving the game, right? A movie we've seen 100 times. But this one, they were mad because right-wingers were getting hunted. And normally, right-wingers have the guns, right? Everyone knows how that should work. But it made me think, I was like, wow, there is this, like, trap. Get Out does this really well, Ready or Not. A lot of these movies where as soon as someone's wealthy, you're like, oh, fuck them. I'm like, has that always been around? Like, this movie was in the, mid-2000s. But I was like, when did that start in movies? Or has that always been a thing?
Well, I mean, I think if you look back at, like, the old tales of yore, like, all the rich...
What the fuck? How old are we talking here?
Like, I don't know, like the old books. But aren't rich people always kind of the bad guy?
Hey, man. More money, more problems. Maybe they got it hard, and we're just over here being jelly.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably true.
But no, it is funny. As soon as I know that Trent is that worried about his stuff and how much things in that house cost, I'm totally cool with him dying. Granted, I've been totally cool with him dying since the first scene he's in the movie.
Yeah.
He is easily, and I'll say this is quite an achievement, he is probably in the top 4 or 5 most obnoxious characters in the history of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but he does have some of the best lines.
He's really good. It's a really good performance.
Yeah, it's a good performance.
But again, so this is my argument with you about is a guy like that who's so terrible and annoying, isn't it awesome to see him get what's coming to him, right? This is the classic horror movie, a person you hate and want to see get destroyed.
He's specifically made that way so you don't feel bad. In fact, you kind of cheer when he gets caught. Like, you're almost rooting for Jason to catch him.
Yeah, it is weird because this happens in both Friday and Nightmare. Is at a certain point you start rooting for Jason and not the people who are being hunted.
Well, and like
they're no longer his victims. You're excited to watch him kill them, which is crazy.
Right.
It's a weird dynamic in horror movies when all of a sudden you can no longer empathize with the humans and you just want to see the carnage. It really takes you to a weird headspace. And again, I think this movie does pretty well because there are about 4 characters that you can sympathize with pretty easily. It gives them a lot of humanity.
Yeah, the people you're rooting, the normal people.
I mean, it could just be Jared Padalecki so gorgeous that you're just like, God, I don't want to. What a waste.
Well, dude,
what a waste
I
of
feel
one
like
of nature's greatest creations.
Like this definitely could be a CW cast.
Yes. Well, this and Nightmare feel like CW cast. It's just this is like the sexy CW, and the other one was like Riverdale CW, right?
It was like PG-13 CW.
They're a little emo, right? But yeah, this is one of the sexier made-for-TV movie cast I've ever seen.
For sure.
All right, so let's run through some kills.
This was released in theaters, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, this was a big... I'm just saying it looks like it was made for CW.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, so kills. What were your favorite kills in the movie?
So, starting off again with the first one, when the girl was hanging above the fireman. Like, I don't know why that freaks me out so much, but just like that slow... I mean, it wouldn't even be that slow, but it would just be a crazy death.
He has a lot of good sleeping bag deaths, too, and this one still shines.
The one that annoyed me was another one in the first movie. That was when the dude was getting stabbed through the floor, I was like, dude, just get the fuck up, man.
Oh
like,
my God, how annoying was that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, would you rather have, and this guy's huge,
Yeah.
would you rather have your entire giant legs and ass on the floor where he almost chops your dick off, or
my God.
just your size 12s?
But I feel
Stand
like
up!
that would be pretty fucked up way to die, because then once you get stabbed, you're kind of fucked.
That's another classic inversion of the classic horror movie girl, right? This is the girl running through the woods who trips and falls 25
Yeah,
times.
right.
That's what this boyfriend is.
And there's a bathtub right there. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, you probably die as soon as you touch that bathwater, though. That looked pretty bad.
I thought that the kill for the original dude that was looking for the weed. Oh, by the way, the guy that was growing the weed was obviously the fucking hillbilly guy, Donnie.
No, it wasn't, because he says he went and stole that weed, that he found it.
Oh, that's why Jason killed him.
Yeah,
So
that's
you're
why I
right,
think
Jason
Jason's
is-
the weed farmer.
By the way, that guy had the best line, and I can't remember what he fucking said.
Oh, no, it's great when Jared Padalecki startles him, and he
Yeah.
goes, "Goddamn, boy, you about activated the start button on a whoop-ass
Yeah, the
machine."
whoop-ass machine. That character was awesome.
He also has my other favorite line, which is when Jason shows up and he rips his mask off, right? And you see a little bit of the deformed face. He just freezes. He goes, "That ain't right."
Yeah, he said, that ain't right, man. That ain't right.
That ain't right, man. But also, oh my God, let's talk about the truly despair of this guy. We also learned that he
God.
definitely lost his virginity to that mannequin.
And what did he call her? Like Bethany or something?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Virginia? I can't remember, but yeah, he talks to her. He has a name
He's like,
for
remember
her.
that night? Remember
He
that?
courted her, and he lost his virginity to this blow-up, or this mannequin.
How do you even
Definitely
do
about to do the same thing before Jason shows up.
Oh,
but
my
this
God.
gets back to my point that Jason is the weed farmer. And
I
that
think so,
somehow
yeah. He's protecting his shit.
He's the one protecting the crops. If
Do you
you go
think-
by the crops, Jason kills you. And this is the question, though. Jason is somehow growing weed
And selling
and
it.
disseminating it to the public. Who's his middleman? Is it that crazy old lady that we see?
I mean,
The
dude,
one who knows about him and says, that boy just wants left
this
alone.
movie just got infinitely more complex because I think maybe some of the townspeople are helping him.
Well, also, this
Like,
is
who was the
something
guy
that
in the
immediately
truck?
perks up your antenna, right? Why is the cop harassing the most white-looking guy ever for simply looking for his sister? Because he's afraid he's stirring up a ruckus, right?
Yeah, but then why does he show up at the house later?
That's what maybe he's protecting all these rich people.
Or maybe he's trying to tell him to get the fuck out. Maybe he knows about
Also,
Jason.
when he shows up at the house, maybe he doesn't know, because this is the thing, he's helping sell the weed. He might not know that he's working for Jason. Maybe the old lady gets the weed, disseminates it out, he gives the legal cover.
And the
So
sheriff
he's
just
going
knows
out
some
to a
shit's
rich
going
person's
on.
address because he's supposed to do that, right? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, fuck, that giant guy I've heard rumors of is real. Because this movie, too, this is one of the first times we're really in, like, a lot of greater Crystal Lake area. You know,
Yeah.
like, how do you
You get to
ever
see the
sell
town,
a
yeah.
mansion in the Crystal Lake area, right, after these murders have happened? Maybe all these motherfuckers are in on it. Jason is big business with his weed farm.
Dude.
Think about that.
That's probably what the sequel is
This
gonna
is a
be.
cartel movie, not a horror movie.
Do you think he's
Wouldn't
just...
that be cool if the third Sicario is just them hunting down Jason Voorhees?
Fuck, that'd be tough. That'd be tough.
I think Jason's the weed farmer, dude.
I think for sure he's the weed farmer, but yeah, the whole him
The town
selling
is
it-
protecting him.
Do you think he's just smoking weed all the time when people aren't invading his land?
I think Jason doesn't get high on his own supply. He's too busy earning merit badges.
Dude, I bet he's just pounding...
Jason obviously has like a perfect 12-pack under there.
Yeah, who knows what he has, dude.
I mean,
just
Jason
know his
must
neck
be
muscles.
0% body fat because he probably is just chewing on rats and
just-
working out all the time.
He's just in the zone, yeah. He's at 24-hour fitness, 24 hours a day.
He lives at Camp Crystal Fitness 24 hours a day.
Dude, yeah, his tunnels are so cool. I wrote that in my notes that I loved all the tripwires and stuff because it explains his supernatural abilities. They're not really supernatural.
But that's what I mean. It's not supernatural. It's just making him...
He's just really good at it.
Yeah, he almost is like Mowgli, right? He's just this human boy that grew up in the woods. He's this primordial, natural predator, man. I love this movie the way they do. And the way the tunnels pop out in like the bus and shit like that, so there's cover.
And he's got it all mapped out, yeah.
Yeah, even as he comes out, he can make sure that no one's watching him and he can follow the bells. I thought that part was really cool. I like the idea of Jason as a real guy. And again, it had been a long time since we had explored that part of Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had been essentially a super zombie.
Yeah, a super zombie.
Because he's kind of a zombie, but inhabited by a demon because he has superpowers.
Well, the Jason Goes to Hell makes it seem like it's a demon.
Right, it's a demon that inhabits. That's just his favorite form, is the Jason form.
It's just the Jason form, yeah.
Right, so, but this one really gets back to what if it was just a child whose mother was mentally ill, sees his mother murdered, and then somehow forms this dark fantasy around camp counseling and
just starts training.
You know, he figures out how to sell weed somehow, right? Maybe there's like one lonely guy.
Well, because I was thinking, how does he pay for electricity and stuff? But yeah, he's got to make money somehow, right?
That's what I mean.
You can't just steal gas. I guess he could steal a lot of shit.
He could steal anything he wants, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But, you know, if he's making enough money for the people in this town, they might be supplying his ass.
He's just got solar panels. He's super progressive.
Well, no,
Jason.
He definitely has a generator.
Yeah, because
so there is a connection to the real world, and it didn't look like a 40-year-old generator.
Who the fuck is buying stuff for this guy? Or do you think
old lady?
No,
but that's the thing. If you're making weed money, why are you living in that shanty?
What? Wait, what?
If you're making weed money, why are you living in that shanty?
Well, because that's his home.
What if Trent's dad and all those dudes are the ones fucking fronting the weed because they have the real money?
What if Jason works for Trent's dad?
That's what I mean. And then the thought of losing his mother, who he has chained up in the basement, that's what pushes him over the edge, and it's too much.
Oh, because they're finally coming for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
so
why would
he was just protecting his weed? That's all he was doing. He didn't murder those people.
He was protecting his weed, and then the whole plan goes awry because he fell in love. Right? It's Beauty and the Beast. It's King Kong. I'm just doing my thing, and then all of a sudden, Beauty slayed the Beast. He found his mother.
Really
thinks. Brings her back and is trying to somehow reconnect with reality, and this sends him in berserk mode.
Dude, is this really just a coming-of-age tale?
I mean, in a way.
In a weird way, it kind of is.
Yeah, the guy coming of age is constantly ending coming-of-age tales. But
well, that's just how he does it, man. But
that's what I mean. When does Jason really lose his shit, right? So we see him kill people coming for his weed.
Yeah.
And then he really flips the fuck out when he finds a backpack and his mom, he thinks his mom, trying to escape.
Well, and also
that
she has
sends
the
him
necklace.
on the berserk.
Shit.
Exactly right.
Although,
well, no, he gave her the necklace.
Oh, he gave her the
that's
necklace,
his keepsake.
All right.
But that's what I mean. That's when he goes apeshit, is when his little reality experiment is thrown asunder. And he's going to lose
the Garden of Eden
again.
has been invaded.
This whole town could be a Roadhouse-style false flag drug operation.
For weed.
Right? This is a town that had a horrific incident, right? It's kind of a camp town, a vacation town. No one would ever want to come back to this fucking sad murder town, right? Well, maybe nowadays we're obsessed with true crime.
Yeah. Nowadays.
But in a more sane time before now, right? Maybe their tourism has hurt so much, all of a sudden this fucking weed starts to flow. And they're like, yeah, we'll sacrifice a couple Trents.
Yeah. Trent's not going to do anything with his life anyways. Trent's
dad is probably the kind of dad that's like, that guy sucks. I want to be rich. Rich people don't like becoming unrich. I don't know.
You think his dad said that guy sucked about his son?
For a fact, Trent's dad knows that Trent sucks.
Well, yeah.
I think there's a part of me that's always believed that really rich dads who then raise really rich, like bitch-ass sons like Trent have to know how much they suck.
Well, because
so, I was a real one that grew up,
and had
worked
to make
hard,
money,
conquered, whatever, and now look at this little fucking bitch thinking he knows how to fight the fight because I did all the work. I think rich dads hate their kids more than anyone.
That's definitely another trope from history. Remember, it's always the king's sons that fuck up the empire.
Yeah, because they never had to learn how to actually do the work, right? You know who learned how to do the work? Jason, because no one did it for him. Trent's dad would rather... Jason is the son that Trent's dad would be proud of.
How do you think Jason learned his stuff, though? You think he was watching YouTube videos? Like how to build...
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly how old he is when he watches his mom die. He could already have been about 8 years old.
And learned some basic skills.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some hermit that was out in the woods and kind of raised him for a while, right? Taught him hey, here's how you grow weed. hey, let's work on these badges, right?
You know what I want? I want a Jason story of him.
What if he kept a captive, right? He captured someone, is like, teach me.
Well, maybe.
I'll slaughter you.
Although I don't know if he can really talk or write.
That's true.
He just motions like a crossbow.
He can communicate with a machete over your head and then point to a bow and an arrow and a target.
And that's why he uses the machete, because that's what his mom used, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he also does have a generator. Maybe he's just watching, like, Robin Hood on VHS over and over again.
I was thinking, I could just picture him, like, curled up on the couch watching, like, how to properly shoot your bow. YouTube series.
Well, I was going to say, if there was a movie that Jason watched over and over again that would train him for this movie, it's Rambo First Blood. It's all tunnels and booby traps and destruction.
Jason is like the poster boy for the Libertarian Party. It's like, you could live on your own. Protect your own land.
Grow your own crops.
Kill anybody that steps on your property.
Yeah, government be damned.
Dude, in Florida, he wouldn't have even gotten in trouble for any of this.
No, probably not. And also, yeah, I think he mostly kills people that no one's going to miss, except for Danielle Panabaker. That was a bummer.
That was a bummer.
But again, I love the idea of she's the classic last girl who then gets killed. I think that's a really fun way to... I love when movies play with the formula a little bit here and there.
Well, and it's only because Jared Padalecki put his sister first. And that scene's really sad, watching it again, knowing what's going to happen, because the entire time that other girl's like, we gotta go. And then they go in front of her, and she's the last one, and I'm like, fuck you guys, man.
And how is he not the last, right?
Yeah, why isn't he the last?
He is the paladin of the movie who then becomes
the rogue.
Chaotic neutral.
He became a rogue at the last second.
Not cool, man. Not cool. No, I don't know. I think the thing that I walked away from this movie is the kills were fun, if not very imaginative, right?
Well, yeah, what was your favorite kill, actually?
Screwdriver through the bottom of the throat really got me. Or through the bottom of, like, the under chin for the Asian guy. That was, like, fucking brutal.
In my mind, though, I was like, he might still be alive. Just play dead.
Yeah, and then we saw Jason throw an axe, and I was like, here it is again, another outdoor camping game that he's amazing at.
Yeah.
He fucking drills that dude with an axe who's running from, like, 30 yards away.
Yeah, that's not fair. Jason's not supposed to be able to do that, man.
Yeah, and that was crazy, too, because that's one where he left bait. That's another very outdoorsman behavior.
Yeah.
That's the second person he left injured for bait, right? He does it with the guy in the bear trap.
Well, he's obviously a good hunter. They showcased
the bear
that.
trap and the sleeping bag are obviously good. I love the boat kill. One, I like that he shot the dude with an arrow. It's just out of nowhere. And then again, like, Jason knows archery? Like, that was crazy. And then I thought the boat was going to splatter that girl, right?
No.
When he actually does the machete and then has to slide her off the machete by her head hitting the dock, I was like, that's pretty fucking hardcore.
Also showcasing his strength, because he lifts her. I guess she's in the water, so it wouldn't be that hard, but still.
And also, he's like strong. 7 feet tall, and she probably weighs like $130.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was still just like the brutality
just to get that one more tit shot, too. He lifts her up.
I didn't know that. I was like, oh, really? The necrophilia tits, huh? One more titty shot.
One more. Yeah.
That was a little much, yeah. No, I think it's fun, though, because Friday the 13th, especially in the later parts, like, they got more and more censored, it felt like, by the ratings board, so some of the kills become a little quicker and not as grisly.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one found a pretty good mix. I think most of the kills are not wildly imaginative. You know, like some of the kills in the earlier series, they're bigger and crazier and whatever. These felt very simple, but in the thought of him as just an actual kind of outdoor hunter, right, protecting his weed crop, that really worked for me. I think simple was good, and they still found a way to make them pretty fun. But yeah, man, I think this is just a perfect mix of characters who are funny enough to keep your interest while we go scene to scene watching Jason slaughter.
And shot really, really well.
Shot really well.
The movie was
Everything
beautiful.
about this movie, production-wise, was beautiful. And then they also add some really fun layers to explore what if Jason mythology. I really thought that was cool, man. To me, this is a great blueprint for how you should do a remake to a beloved series.
Even the movie poster was cool. Just the girth of the new Jason. Just the unstoppable force.
Which is weird because one of the things is they mentioned they kind of wanted him to be ganglier.
Oh, weird.
Right? Like taller
he seemed like
and
a brick.
lankier. Because Kane Hodder's a little shorter and stocky.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, dude, I think this was Derek Mears, right? He went on to play Swamp Thing. Now he's a lot of like creatures. Fucking massive guy. So I was like, that's lanky?
Jesus.
But, yeah, and he looks humongous and terrifying in this movie. And again, they found some room to make him a little human too. I don't know. I really liked what this one was putting down. I would probably put it in the top 5 Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even think of 5 Friday the 13th movies.
Which is crazy because this was number 11.
I know,
and then
dude.
Freddy versus
Actually,
Jason makes
let me think. Which one would be my favorite?
You love Jason X. I know you love Jason X.
Well, Jason X is probably my favorite. I love Jason Takes Manhattan when he punches that dude's head off the building.
Yes. See, that's your thing. Because in Jason X, he punches the android's head off. So you like any movie where he punches heads off.
I like the creepy head punches. I don't know. Jason was always scary, and I was always terrified because I remember I watched some of these movies when I was like 12, 11 years old, and I was like, I'm going to be fucked when I turn 13. Because the whole movie is he kills teenagers. I was like, fuck. I gotta not turn 13 somehow.
Yeah, right. You're like, only Corey Feldman ever felt in danger, but you're like, that's Corey Feldman. Jason was in much more danger.
Dude, I do remember I made the mistake. I think it was Friday 4 or something like that. I watched it when
the Feldman one.
The what? Oh yeah,
that's
Corey
the one
Feldman.
Where Feldman.
Yeah. And the insane asylum or whatever, right?
That part 4, yeah, that's where Feldman and his family come, and they're like next door neighbors to a camp of insane people.
Okay. Yeah, I remember watching that.
Part 5 is the insane people. Sorry, I'm getting them all mixed up again.
Whichever one was the insane people. But I remember watching that as a kid, and no one was at home. I got so scared I climbed to the top of a tree and waited for everyone to get home that was near my house. And I remember I had to take a piss out of it too because I wouldn't come down.
Smart. That's smart. I don't think we ever saw Jason climb trees. That's smart. Although the remake Jason seems like he would have climbed your ass up that tree and gotten you.
Yeah, I was 23 years old.
And that was yesterday. What a day. All right, man. Thanks for joining me for the remake. Guys, that's it.
Good stuff.
For Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th.
No more.
All we have left is the battle royale between Jason and Freddy, the all-time monster movie throwdown.
Actually, that might be my favorite.
That's a really good. That came out right at the right age for us, too.
That was a good
Sam,
movie.
I'm getting everyone who does these. I need a weigh-in. Are you Team Freddy or Team Jason?
Well, I'm Team Michael, but...
Team Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's definitely the scariest one. But in this movie, I'm Team Jason all the way because fuck Freddy.
What is it that you like about Jason more than Freddy?
He's pure. There's no mystery to Jason, really. He's just avenging his mother, killing everyone in his path. Freddy's a little bitch that molests kids. Remember, you said that.
Yeah, he is. He leaves us more sour taste in your mouth. His revenge is not as pure as Jason's. But I think as the series go on, because Jason had so many more movies, there's a lot of mystery about what the fuck Jason is and what his mission is after a while.
Well, now there's a mystery about whether or not he's a weed dealer. So
yeah. Well, Jason is definitely a weed dealer. But let me tell you this. This pod supports small business owners.
Hell yeah.
So I'm totally for Jason being left alone in the woods and just making it work until he starts murdering.
Less money in the cartel's hand is good for America.
Yeah, that's too far. Plus, also, I'd like to see those cartel bitches come for Jason's weed. Good luck. I'm just saying, as we get Rambo Last Blood, maybe this is Jason's next act.
Hell yeah.
American weed farmer.
How about Rambo versus Jason? That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be about a 3-minute movie.
Whatever, dude.
He would fucking slaughter Rambo, put the headband on, and then kill whoever the real bad guys are.
Here's a question for you. Could Jason beat the Predator?
Yes, easily.
Okay, well, if you think that, then I was gonna say because I think Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, could fight Schwarzenegger from the Predator pretty evenly.
Yeah, they're pretty similar guys.
So you think Jason's on a different level?
Freddy Jason coming up. I love the who could beat what monsters. I love that shit.
Yeah, I don't know if Jason
could beat the Predator. And I don't know that
dude.
Jason's that high on my list, but I was thinking about it today. Like, I think Pinhead's really high on my list. But Pinhead would get bored of Jason.
Pinhead has magic. It's not really fair. He's got super magic powers. It's not
so does Freddy.
Yeah, but only in the dream world. Remember when they bring him, not to spoil the next one, but they bring him into the real world and then shit
They bring
happens.
Freddy into the real world all the time. Also, that movie's like 20 years old. You can spoil.
And that shit gets real quick.
Or 10 years old. Yeah, no.
Doesn't he rip off his arm?
Candyman? there are a lot of the supernatural guys I think are stronger, but then you're like, Michael and Jason are supernatural.
Theoretically. But with the remakes, they aren't.
Jason, by the end of this movie, not the remake he's just a badass weed farmer.
And the remake of Halloween, he's just a badass big dude. That's crazy.
But he dies at the end of this. We didn't even talk about Jason's demise in this. One of the most important things in a movie is the demise.
What did you think of the end fight? Yeah.
I thought the end fight was good, man. I was a little confused. I mean, there's a lot of this when Jason goes hand to hand, like, how can these people stand up to him for as long as they can? Mm-hmm. But feeding him into the wood chipper, that was really cool.
Yeah, except for I was watching it at work, and one of the people I work with was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The wood chipper would just break that chain link. And I was like,
I think the chain link would actually just fuck up the chipper.
Yeah, either way, something would happen.
But it doesn't matter. I liked Jason sitting there with his head bouncing off the blades as his brain's hollowed out, but his one eye remains open, staring at them, letting him know he could still be coming.
He's not.
I thought that shot was magic. And what we know is then we dump him in the lake for some fucking reason.
Why
we
the
put
fuck
him
burn
back
his
in
body?
his source of power. That'd be like, oh, I finally fucking defeated Poppy. I'm going to bury him in a spinach casket. You fucking morons. For another dated reference.
That's literally where he gets his power, I think.
Yeah, but when he jumps out at the end, I think that is a PTSD dream to me.
Oh.
But I love the ending. I thought it's always hard to end these movies because how do you destroy the indestructible boogeyman? And I thought this one was really cool.
They should do it 10
and
years
he's
later.
not as indestructible in this one, it worked really well.
Yeah, which I think is when they're just unbeatable. Kind of like how I feel like Freddy. It's always like you got to come up with some trick. It's like come on, man. Like
he's like a Rumpelstiltskin type. Yeah,
it's like Freddy's just the dumbest fucker on earth or wherever. Because
son of a bitch.
Why wouldn't you just don't ever get taken into the real world, dude? Just stay in the dreams. Don't let these girls fucking
I do agree. I think every Friday or Nightmare movie should have ended with a dream defeat.
Yeah, it could be so much cooler, man, if you actually... Like, the Dream Warriors, that's why everyone thinks the Dream Warriors is the best one. Because they actually fought him in the dream. I was like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. No, they do that a lot throughout. The next 3, 4, and 5, they all fight him in the dream. 6 goes back to pulling him out. Part 1 pulls him out. Part 2 pulls him out, kind of. So it's almost like a 50-50 split in the Nightmare series. But I think the 3 that are the most visually fun and stimulating are 3, 4, and 5 because the battles become these giant metaphysical fucking absurdities, which are great. And what I think is cool, and this is our last movie with Jason, so what I think is cool about Jason, Freddy's easier to fall in love with because Robert Englund can give you so much, right? Besides the visually iconic and great backstory for his villain, in all the movies, Robert Englund is giving you so much, right? Every movie, like, they've only done one movie without him because he's that fucking good in this role.
Yeah.
Jason has somehow transcended, although we didn't really see him all the way as we see him now until part 3. They skipped him for one movie, essentially, while some guy just donned the mask. He's had a lot of turmoil, a lot of different actors, and again, he's just a big blank slate of murder. Yeah. And the fact that people still latch on to him so much, I think is an absolute fascinating success story in Hollywood, right? Who would have thought this movie, this small budget movie about a mom killing Kevin Bacon and other camp counselors would spawn this fucking gargantuan death zombie that we still fucking love that much. And the actors who do that have, like, Kane Hodder is the most popular. He's the guy who, like, invented the big, deep breath, right? So you really see the deep breath and the heaving shoulders. But for the most part,
that's it.
They're not giving you a lot, right? It's all physicality. And I do think it's astounding.
It's the mask.
Where Jason got. I mean, but even that, like, a lot of guys had masks, right? This one is, there's something really special about
I
Jason.
think it was a couple things, dude. It's that mask in particular is super cool. Because it's a hockey mask that we see all the time. And I guarantee you, before this movie came out, people were like, man, why are hockey masks so creepy? Because they are just creepy looking for some reason.
But were they creepy before? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But in the 80s, every slasher movie had a mass killer.
But also what you're saying about the breathing.
Most of them didn't work. Some of them did. There's some kind of extra life force, right? Like the demonic life force that vivifies Jason. The movie kind of has that. There's something extra in Jason. And I don't know if it's the relatable backstory, the suffering of the mother that set us up to where we feel more with this, You know, he is just kind of almost like a giant broken kid. I don't know what it is about Jason. I've honestly never been able to put my finger on. I think Freddy's easy to explain. But, and again, Jason, a lot of times, like you said, he kills a lot of people too that are seemingly not worth killing. Right? They're the kind of good people that should survive these movies. And so there is just this extra, I mean, I think he's so much more dangerous. And everyone is his prey. Andy has a good backstory. Andy looks awesome. I don't know. Maybe that's all it is.
Well, I think it's just, like you're saying, a bunch of little things. The breathing, the mask, the backstory.
What are your favorite things? Like, summarize Jason to someone who doesn't know why he's awesome and why they should watch these.
Well, it's the classic tale of the camp of murder, basically, right?
There you go. One of the old books.
Yeah, it's like you're going off on a fun adventure, one of these old books of yore, and then you end up being hunted by an unstoppable, evil, demonic force.
Yeah.
What's not to like about that?
It's fun. Yeah, it is funny because, I mean, that's how I think of him too. He's just this natural. This is man versus predator, right? From the dawn of time. Like, why are we afraid of the dark?
Well, and he preys on the weak, not the weakest, but a weak,
right?
Like children, basically.
But it's funny too that what started is so fucking very much of its time, right? Like short, feathered hair camp counselors.
Yeah.
Just kept going, and it still fucking works today. And we've seen him on a ship. We've seen him in space. We've seen him in Manhattan.
He
right? Like,
everywhere.
It all works. Like, wherever you put Jason, it still works, which is fun.
It kind of works, but then it's like, dude, you're really far away from your camp at this point.
But that's what I mean. He's omnipresent.
Who's taking care of his weed when he's off in space?
Well, this Jason couldn't get far during harvest season, especially. Maybe in the winter.
This Jason's not going on any vacation. Yeah, maybe in the winter.
He rolls out. All right, man. Well, that's enough for Jason and Freddy until they meet. Yes. Halloween Day, Freddy versus Jason. Thanks again for joining me, Sam.
No problem, dude.
Rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends wherever you find the show. We're almost there, guys. Also, submit your choices for our December movies where the pod stuffs your stocking. We want to do the movies that you want, man. It's our gift to you. So hit us with your suggestions of movies that we need to cover. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey. That's Sam Price. Get away from my weed. That was like mixing like 4 things. Yeah.